Hi and welcome to Knowledge is Fun 2020. Today we are going to take a trip back our childhood and our experience with little children. Can you identify what these little kids are doing out here? This activity we often indulge with in small children. This is Peekaboo, and where we try to hide our face. When we come out of it, the children feel very happy as if we have emerged all of a sudden. But in this stage too, the child who is there in the box, he knows it somehow that this little kid is outside the box and he is going to search for it. It means that from stage 1 to stage 2, this child has learned that people don't disappear once they are behind their heads or behind the box. And I'm sure this child will also find his brother. This is the third one. Identify. The toy of this child is hidden behind the towel. The child is exploring and finally he has pulled the towel and found his toy. Look at the happiness which is there on the face of this boy. Once we grow up, our activities change. We look out for more creative things, drawing, painting, and finally, when we are even older, we can play hide and seek, we can plan out, we can think where are the places where children can hide, and we can strategize. So, this is our growth from the day we are born till we come to the school. This is what we are going to deal with today: early childhood care and education. What we'll deal with are the basic principles of early childhood care and education and the importance of early care and learning experience for the children. I'm sure this session is going to be pretty interesting for all of us. We'll be reminded of our childhood and the children around us. First, let's go in for an introduction. What do we actually mean by the topic? We all know the children grow very rapidly. Infants start learning from a very early age, as we saw in the first photograph. The child, so small, was so happy when the mother came out of the peekaboo game. The children learn to focus, they learn to identify the colors, they look at your eyes, identify the faces, they recognize familiar faces, and as they grow old, once they have recognized the familiar faces, they become they have fear of unfamiliar people. They identify that these are strangers and they don't go to the people who they don't know. They also develop some control over the bladder and bowel movement. By the time a child is 1.5 to 2, most of the children have their control on the bladder movement. Brought up exclusively within the family for a few years, I'm sure most of the children are in the safe premises and the control of their family. When they are 3 years old, or nowadays it could be 2.5 years old, the activities and the experiences expand. They start looking out of their family, they meet many people, and they try to explore the environment and discover the world around them. Have you seen a child asking, Mother, Mama, where does the moon go? Where is the sun now? Why is it dark? Why is it morning? Why does the lion eat all the other animals? So they are ready to explore the world around them, the rattles, their toys. You will find that the children play for toys for just 1 and 2 days, and most of the mothers are complaining कि उसके बाद तो ये सब सारे toys खोल देता है. He breaks the toys and plays with the parts of the toys. So they are exploring the world around them. Their vocabulary is growing. They start with one sound, then two sounds, mama, papa, and slowly the vocabulary increases. They are curious to learn, and we have to develop this curiosity. We have to maintain this curiosity. Early childhood education and care are crucial for long term prosperity. Now, suppose a child asks you, Mama, where did I come from? And you say, I don't know. You were here only. Do you think the child will come again to you with some other question? His curiosity will slowly and slowly die away. And if you say, Come, I'll show it to you, I'll explain it to you, and you explain it creatively to the child, I'm sure he'll have more than 100 questions more to ask. And if we force the children to sit in one place, learn in a formal school कि नहीं यहाँ बैठो, चुप बैठो, चलना नहीं है, फिरना नहीं है, अपनी कॉपी निकालो और पढ़ना शुरू करो, I'm sure the curiosity will diminish and the child will feel anxious and insecure because he'll be afraid to ask you any questions. The child who does not get proper and appropriate early childhood education, they always struggle in their later lives. They are not curious, they are not interested in the studies, they are not encouraged and motivated enough. And because of this, what do? They struggle in their later lives, they don't like to study, and they don't even like to explore things. There could be many other problems. Early childhood care and education, as abbreviated as ECCE. First, let us try to understand what we mean by this term. Early childhood education is a branch of educational theory, and it relates to the teaching of children from birth up to age of 8th. 8 years, that is which grade? 6. The third grade. Mostly the child enters class 1 when he is 6, so by 8 he'll be there in the third standard. ECE is more than a preparation for a primary school. It's not easy to say that early childhood education, it means that we are preparing a child to grow up and grow to a proper school. No, it aims at the holistic development of a child. It aims at the social, emotional, cognitive, and physical needs of the child. So it's all dimensional or multi-dimensional approach towards the need of a child, and it plans to build a solid and broad foundation for lifelong learning and well-being. आपने वो सब पिक्चर तो देखी होगी ना, आमिर खान वाली. इट वॉज थ्री इडियट्स, वेयर ही सेड कि सक्सेस के पीछे मत भागो, अगर तुम सीखोगे तो सक्सेस पहले ही तुम्हारे पीछे आएगी. सो इट्स नॉट दैट वी हैव टू प्रिपेयर देम फॉर लर्निंग A to Z. What we have to encourage is the lifelong learning, their curiosity and their well-being, so that they are motivated to learn and not just to remember. ECCE, it nurtures caring, capable and responsible future citizens. And these experiences which they get in the early childhood care, they shape the young learner's mind, their attitudes and behavior. They try to make it positive, optimistic and ready to face all the challenges. To overcome the fear of the unknown. We don't know what's going to happen. Did we ever know that we'll be locked up at home because of this corona? We have to prepare the children for the unknown and ready to face any challenge. Having no critical awareness of these issues while imparting education to young minds, what will it do? It will only reproduce the pre existing social structures. The younger ones will be the imitation of their elders. Rather than going in for new opportunities, thinking out of the box, they will also follow what their parents have been following. क्योंकि जैसे हम कह दें लड़कों को रोना नहीं है. If this is what we teach to the young children, without giving them any reason, they'll also learn it and just go for it, that we don't have to cry. No, we have to give them just the environment so that they can have their own philosophies rather than reproducing what has been there with the previous generation. ECCE, so I feel, is the best investment that a country can make to promote human resource development, to have the children when they grow up into citizens and the adults with their own approach, their own thinking, and the people who follow gender equality, social cohesion, they care about people, they are concerned, they think out of the box, they are creative, innovative, and create a better world. Especially ECCE is very important for the disadvantaged children, where they don't get the proper environment in the family. The family is not equipped, they don't have the time or the inclination to spend with the child. So here ECCE plays a very important role in compensating the disadvantages which are there in the family and to combat the educational inequalities between different families. Some families would be very concerned about the children, giving them many opportunities and exposure, so that child would be groomed to know more, to explore more. So to combat these inequalities, we need an education system which is equal for all of them. Now we come to the objectives. As per NCF 2005, The position paper on early childhood education published by NCRT, the objectives of ECCE are holistic development, we discussed it, that is all round development, social, mental, cognitive, motor, all the developments of a child to enable him to realize the potential. This is what we should achieve. All the children are different. Somebody would be a good dancer, one would be good singer, but what we aim is that they should realize their potential and to prepare them for the proper school, formal schooling, that's obvious, and also provide services for women and children. Now, the next thing which we have to deal with is that we need to understand that for a very, very long time, the early part of education was considered to be the exclusive domain of the head of the family. The children were expected to do whatever the head of the family decided. The head of the family would say कि तुम्हें engineer बनना है, doctor बनना है, तुम्हें मेरा business संभालना है, and the children were expected to follow whatever was told to them. रात को झाड़ू नहीं लगानी है, बिल्ली काट जाए काली बिल्ली तो you don't have to move further. So it was exclusive domain of the head of the family, and the child, it was thought that has no will of herself. But in the mid 18th century, the philosophers like Locke and Rousseau, they gave the notion that childhood is separate from adulthood. Further, Piaget tried to explain that young children have a different way of understanding the thing. They don't think like adults. The adults have the conditioned minds. They know what is right, what is wrong as per the standards. But a child is a free bird and free to think of his own world. Now, the early childhood, that is from birth to 8 years, it has been divided into two stages. Okay, the two stages are, first is 1 to 3 year. Okay, the first stage is 1 to 3 years. And the second is from 3 to 8 years. Here, these stages have been on the scale of their development, how the children develop. As per their development, two stages are divided, 1 to 3 and 3 to 8. Further, we have divided this stage 1 to 3 into infancy and childhood. Infancy is from birth to 1 year, and the total 1 to 3 years, it is there in the childhood. So in infancy, the child is largely dependent on adults for all the needs, and that is why I have put infancy in a separate category. If the mother is employed, or she's working outside, she has to go out, the child needs a substitute caregiver, a person who can care for the child in place of mother. The children at this stage learn to identify, they reach out, explore, learn about the things around them. They cannot go anywhere further. They have to make use of their own senses, their sensory organs. They very often use their senses, their eyes, their taste. These are very commonly used by the children because they don't go out. They have to explore whatever is around them. From 1 to 3 years, the child brains develop rapidly. He learns many words by the time he is 1.5 years old. Rapid cognitive, linguistic, social, emotional, and motor developments, they are all developing at a very fast pace. The relationship here between the child and the caregiver is the best nourishment which you can give to the brain. So the child and the caregiver, this relationship is very important. You must have seen कि बच्चे कई बार क्या करते हैं, जो उनको मैम ने स्कूल में बताया है वो कहेंगे नहीं मैम ने ही सही बताया, तुम जो बता रही हो वो गलत है. They don't agree to you. Why? Because they feel that the caregiver is always right. They are very curious about the world and they ask lots of questions. Why why the apple is red? Why am I supposed to get up in the morning? Hundreds of questions, you cannot even imagine the questions. And they enjoy using all their senses, we have already discussed. The next stage is 3 to 8 years where the child moves beyond the family. Abhi tak in those stages mein the child was within the secure environment of the family. The exposure was only up to the family. 3 to 8 years, the child can dress himself. He can catch a ball only using his hands. He can tie his shoelaces. He is independent from the family. He starts going to the school. It could be a preschool, a nursery, a Montessori. He contacts a larger world. अभी तक जो उसकी फैमिली थी, इट वॉज हिज, अभी तक जो उसकी फैमिली थी वो उसका वर्ल्ड था, ही वॉज लर्निंग एवरीथिंग फ्रॉम द फैमिली, बट नाउ हिज कॉन्टैक्ट्स ग्रो, द फ्रेंडशिप्स बिकम very important, they start looking for friends, they seek their permissions, they seek their approval also. The physical, social, and mental skills, they all develop very rapidly, and it's a very critical time for the child to develop some confidence. If you motivate a child that you can do it, the child will develop confidence. And if a child is always scolded, he is always critically examined, the confidence might go down. So we have to be very encouraging, motivating at all these three stages. You can see the activities which are performed in 1 year, they are mostly related to their own body, their own caregiver. He's dependent. Here, the child explores many other motor skills. He starts cycling, he goes out. But the main focus is on the family. After 3 years, he is open for the whole new world. He's ready to explore it. Now, the principles of ECCE. The basic principle of ECCE, as given by NCF 2005, is play must be the base for learning. A child who is taught by playway learns very fast. अगर आप बच्चे से कहते हो आओ बैठो याद करो रटो, he'll take lot of time and he won't be interested. But play is the base of learning. Art as the basis of education. Now, most of the emphasis nowadays is on arts plus साइंस, मैथ्स, एसएसटी, वॉट एवर इट इज़. आर्ट से एक बच्चे को हम सिखाते हैं, जैसे आप बच्चे को काउंटिंग सिखा रहे हो, इट कुड बी देयर इन फॉर्म ऑफ अ सॉन्ग, यू कैन मेक एन ऑडियो विजुअल एड, इट कुड बी अ skit. This is making use of art in all the activities. Now, even science, if you have to explain eclipse, you can make use of art. You can make the children stand one as sun, moon, earth, and then show the rotation and revolution. So arts can be used and integrated in the education. It should be both formal and informal interaction. Classroom education can never go away, but in place of, but it should be supplemented with informal techniques where the teacher or the caregiver interacts with the child at a informal level. Recognition of special features of the children's thinking. We must accept that all the children are different and we need to recognize the special feature of each different child. The primacy of experience rather than expertise. That is, a child learns better by experience. So, experience learning should be emphasized. The more he experiences, the better he learns. Experience of familiarity and challenge in everyday routine. A child should be taught to be ready to face challenges, whatever they may be in the coming life. Developmentally appropriate practices. We need to identify at what age a child, which activity suits the child better. But there must be flexibility and plurality, which again depends on the child, the features of the child, the learning capacity of the child, which is different for each child. More use of local materials, art, and knowledge should be incorporated in studies. We should ask the children to create new things with whatever is available at hand rather than going in for exclusive items. Blend of textual and cultural resources. The children should be aware of our cultural heritage and also the text. Health, well being, and healthy habits, these are always a priority when the children are concerned. We should make the children who are very healthy and cautious of their health. The best learning environment, so we must conclude, for a young child, a very young child, will be an environment where there are a variety of people and play materials. You can see if the children, they are taught in this play way, they have so much exposure, they have so many colors, shapes. If they are taught in this way, I'm sure they'll be learning more than a disadvantaged child who is just made to draw a triangle. Draw a triangle on your copy and remember any figure which has three sides is a triangle. When a child makes a house, different figures, he is able to identify the shapes and learn it forever. So toys and natural materials, the play materials, they should all be incorporated in the class. The environment should be safe, secure, and loving. Now there are very strict measures taken by the government against physical or mental harassment of the child. The child should be encouraged by the caregiver to do his best to reach his potential, not to compare with another child कि देखो इसने बनाया और तुमने नहीं बनाया. No, This is not done. Whatever this child makes is also wonderful, and whatever the second child makes is also wonderful. Each child is different. And the presence of a caring adult, it could be mother, grandparent, preschool teacher, or a sibling. A child, a very young child, should always have a presence of a caring adult. At home it could be mother, grandparent, or sibling, and in the school it's a preschool teacher. I hope the concept of ECC is clear. We'll be dealing with other aspects in the next video. I hope you were reminded of your childhood, and sometimes when you were scolded by your parents, your teachers, यू विल बी एबल टू रिमेंबर कि उसके बाद मेरा उस टीचर के और मम्मी से मैंने कभी भी वो सवाल ही नहीं किया मेरे को इतनी डांट पड़ी थी या मेरे को इतनी मार पड़ी थी. सो रिमेंबर योर एक्सपीरियंसेस एंड ऑल्सो द एक्सपीरियंस विच मोटिवेटेड यू कि वो टीचर बहुत अच्छी थी, उसने मुझे बहुत अच्छा पढ़ाया. वेन एवर यू आर गोइंग टू टीच यंग चिल्ड्रन, ऑलवेज रिमेंबर इट. अपने एक्सपीरियंसेस को याद करना एंड इनकॉर्पोरेट देम विद द लेटेस्ट टेक्निक्स. सो see you with the next video in the second part of this very interesting lesson. Goodbye for now. See you in the next show.